word problems. Okay, so the first word problem, there's no specific development of strategies usually. It's just how to solve radical equations. So do you know what perimeter is from past math? Perimeter. What does that mean in math? The outside if you go all the way around. So I would add all the sides. So 5 plus a root x plus 1 plus a 5 plus a root x plus 1. All four sides, the perimeter has to be 16. So that's the development of my equation. So the perimeter has to be 16. Okay, what do we do here? We can combine like terms. So there's a 5 plus a 5, so I can put digits together, so 10. Ooh, these radicals are the same as each other, so I can put them together, right? So what is it going to be? Okay, so lots of you are thinking x plus 1. That's if you are timesing them together, but I'm not. 2 of those roots. Do you understand the difference between if I had those two radicals timesing, that would have been an x plus 1. Okay. So basically when you're solving radical equations, you're most likely looking to get rid of everything and then square it, right? So I'm going to minus 10. I'm going to divide by 2. Okay. Now, can you see my strategy? This would be the point where I'm squaring. Okay, but I had to wait till I got to this spot. So if I square both sides, I get rid of the radical. So now I have a 9. There we go. Okay. Okay, we have a velocity equation, and we have m is the mass, the EK is the kinetic energy. Okay, so the mass of the object is 0.5, so this needs to go in place of the m, and there's a velocity, so that needs to get replaced with a v. So can you make those replacements? Okay, what do you want to start with here? What do you want to do? Square it right away because there's a square root. Let's do that then. Yep. I could have done one more thing, but I like that as well. So square it right away is 1600, and then the square root will disappear with the square. Okay, now it's just regular math. What do you want to do to this? Times by a 0.5. So what is 1600 times 0.5 without a calculator? 800 equals 2e. Divide by 2 without a calculator. 400 joules is the energy. Okay, the next formula gets used for air pressure in thunderstorms. And we got P being the pressure and V is the wind velocity. Those are our letters. Okay, so we have been given a wind velocity. So make a replacement in your formula. Okay, what do you want to do first? Divide. I would want to divide that number out of there. Does that make sense why I'd want to get rid of it before squaring? Okay, why do you think I wrote dot, 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 dot with my number? What do you think that's meaning to you? There's more, but what do you think I'm doing? I'm just keeping it. It's on my calculator. I'm not even touching it right now. It's just on my calculator. Preparing you for grade 12 when you get to a provincial exam, if you write me to 3 decimal places incorrectly, you lose a point. Okay? Which means there's 0 rounding at this point. Okay. Now what? Square it. So again, it's in my calculator. So I'm just going to square it right then. Answer squared. Now what? Minus the 998. Again, it's just all in my calculator. I just keep going. Okay, do you notice that you still have a negative P? Right? You should have kept that subtract sign still. Because then what? What would you still want to do? Divide by -1 or times by -1 if that's what you're going to do. Because the pressure obviously can't be negative pressure. That would, what are those, millibars? We're going to go with the Manitoba for pressure. Millibars, because I don't know what it would be. Okay, the last one is a formula for a pendulum swinging. So do you know what a pendulum would be? Like a grandfather clock? Does this make sense? It goes back and forth like that? Grandfather clock? Okay, so it says to go back and forth is considered a period for the time. So to go there and back is a cycle. And you're going to learn in grade 12, we do sinusoidal curves. This is going to be a sinusoidal curve. And it's called a period of time when it does a cycle. So back and forth is a cycle. So that takes 2 seconds to do that. So that would be the time. So I'm trying to figure out the length of that clock arm. So there's my formula. Okay, what do you do? What do you want to do? Divide. Okay, I'm going to divide by a 2 pi to cancel. Divide by a 2 pi to cancel. But this is a calculator. Well, how do you type that? How do you type it in properly? Have to have brackets on that part. Okay, because if you were to just type 2 divided by 2 times pi, it would do 2 divided by 2. And then it would times that by pi, which is not what you want. Okay, so again, just understanding how to use your calculator. Okay, understand how to use your calculator. Point 3. So here would be the spot where you want to square it, right? Because now you have the square root alone. So it's basically looking to get the square root alone and then square it. And I'm expecting you to keep these things on your calculator when you're doing all your math. Walk.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm squaring it. I'm getting a 0.101. On my calculator. Haven't touched it. And then I want to times by 32. Haven't rounded a single thing until now. 3.24, and it's the length in feet.